So how can a team be the undisputed best in the world and at the same time a total mess? It sounds impossible, right? Well, let's get into it. Because between 2024 and 2025, the Indian cricket team became one of the biggest paradoxes in all of sports. It's a story of incredible highs and just crushing lows, all happening at the exact same time.
I mean, just look at this. On one side, you've got global champions. They finally ended that 11-year trophy drought by winning not one, but two huge world titles. But on the other side, a historic collapse. They were humiliated at home in the one format where everyone thought they were literally invincible. This is a true sporting Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The question is, how on earth did this happen?
Okay, first let's talk about the good times, the glory. Because in white ball cricket, this team wasn't just good, they were an absolute juggernaut. They created this feeling, this illusion, that they were completely unbeatable, no matter the format.
And the speed of their success was just staggering. We're talking about a span of just 10 months where they conquered the world. First up, the T20 World Cup in June of 2024. Then, boom, right after that, the Champions Trophy in March of 2025. Just like that, the curse was broken.
You know, their T20 World Cup win wasn't just about one or two superstars, even though Virat Kohli's 76 in the final was absolutely clutch. No, this was a masterclass in strategy. They used Jasprit Bumrah in the middle overs to just strangle the other team's run rate. They had this flexible order where all-rounders like Axar Patel could be sent in at any time to mess with the opposition's plans. And get this, they were the first team ever to win the whole thing undefeated.
And that win perfectly set up the formula for their next one. The Aussie legend Ricky Ponting really nailed it. He said their Champions Trophy win came down to incredible squad balance. By playing three all-rounders, they had so much depth in both batting and bowling that, other teams just couldn't keep up. They were a perfectly tuned white ball machine.
But that feeling of total invincibility, it was just that, an illusion. Because while they were busy filling up the white ball trophy cabinet, the very foundation of Indian cricket, their fortress of home test dominance, was about to implode in the most spectacular way possible.
Just take a moment to think about this number. 18. That's how many test series India had won in a row on their own turf. A whole decade of absolute, unquestioned dominance. They had this aura of being unbeatable. And then, in late 2024, it all just shattered.
It all started against New Zealand, a team that hadn't won a test match in India in 36 years. And it wasn't just a loss, it was a complete 3-0 whitewash. In Bengaluru, they were bowled out for a shocking 46. In Pune, they made this ridiculously spinning pitch to trap New Zealand and ended up getting caught in their own trap. And in Mumbai, they couldn't even chase down a tiny target of 147. It was a total capitulation.
And just in case anyone thought that New Zealand series was a fluke, the humiliation got even worse a year later against South Africa. Another home series, another loss. This time, they were skittled out for 93 in one innings and 140 in another. The fortress wasn't just breached, it was officially a ruin.
I mean, look at this contrast. It's just insane. A 90% win rate in white ball cricket, right next to a test match win rate of just 47%. And remember, we're talking about the same group of players, the same cricket board, the same country. So what on earth was going on?
To really get what happened, we need to basically perform an autopsy on this collapse. And when you look at the evidence, it all points to four big interconnected reasons for the failure.
The first pillar of this failure was a major step backwards in basic technical skill. And it was especially bad in an area where Indian batsmen were, for decades, considered the best in the world. And who better to deliver this absolutely brutal verdict than one of their own legends, Ravichandran Ashwin? It's a shocking thing to hear. Once the kings of playing spin bowling, Indian batters suddenly looked completely lost. They were playing with hard hands that they'd developed on flat T20 pitches and that made them sitting ducks on the turning tracks of Test cricket.
The second reason was a huge strategic mistake, probably born from a bit of overconfidence, maybe even arrogance. It was this belief that their home advantage was some kind of unbeatable superweapon, no matter how they used it.
And this led to what we can call the rank-turner fallacy. The team leadership thought that if they prepared these viciously turning pitches, victory was guaranteed. But it backfired big time. Instead of giving them an advantage, these pitches became an equalizer. They completely neutralized the skill gap between the teams and exposed their own batters' weaknesses. It basically turned the game into a coin flip for everybody.
All right, the third problem wasn't something you could see on the pitch. It happened behind closed doors, in the decision-making rooms. We're talking about a chaotic, confusing leadership change that rocked the entire team at the worst possible moment.
The timeline here is just mind-boggling. In October 2025, Rohit Sharma, the guy who had just led them to 2 world trophies, was removed as the ODI captain. In his place, they appointed the 25-year-old Shubman Gill as the captain for all formats. And the result? You could see the confusion on the field. People watching noticed there were too many captains trying to run the show, which created this obvious power vacuum.
And that brings us to the final and honestly probably the most important reason for all of this. The entire system has become misaligned. It's prioritizing one form of the game way over the other.
Veteran cricketer Dinesh Karthik just lays it out perfectly here. The Indian Premier League, the IPL, it's this huge, massively popular T20 tournament, and it's completely changed the money in the game. And as he asks, why would a young player learn to bat defensively for 4 hours when smashing the ball for 20 minutes can earn you $1 million contract? The skills that make you rich are the exact opposite of what you need to succeed in Test cricket.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, the final verdict becomes crystal clear. This isn't just about a few players losing form. This is about a deep, fundamental fracture in the very structure of Indian cricket.
What you're really looking at are 2 completely separate ecosystems operating under the same flag. The white ball system, it's thriving. It's fueled by the IPL, which pumps out fearless T20-ready players. But the red ball system, it's broken. The domestic competition is devalued, defensive skills are disappearing, and that chaotic leadership change just sabotaged any stability it had left.
And this right here is the biggest takeaway. The wild inconsistency that we've seen isn't some random mystery or an accident. It is the logical, totally inevitable result of a system that, whether it meant to or not, has decided to prioritize T20 glory over the traditional soul of the sport.
Which leaves us with the biggest question of all. The white ball team is a champion, no doubt. But the Test team, the format that was always considered the pinnacle of cricket, is in pieces. Can this fractured colossus, this giant of the sport, ever truly be made whole again?